And a good Monday morning to you. This is your June 13th Monday morning tropical update. I'm meteorologist Peyton Malone. Thanks so much for joining me again. The tropics starting to heat up a little bit. They were fairly quiet last week, but we are tracking a couple of things now and the potential for some development even in the Atlantic basin. So starting with a wide overview of what's going on out there, you can see the Gulf is still quiet. There's nothing to worry about in the Gulf right now. And even the Caribbean, there's not a whole lot going on. But as you see down here in Central America and into the Eastern Pacific, there's this big old envelope and just blob basically of a lot of moisture and some low pressure and a broad circulation down in here. This is the area we're going to be keeping an eye on over the next week or so for some development, whether you're on the Eastern Pacific side or maybe even on the Caribbean side. Here's a quick look at the Pacific side. Notice two areas are being highlighted by the National Hurricane Center, those generally moving off towards the west. The Caribbean side is now highlighted for some development as well. The chances were 20% yesterday. They're now up to 30%. So it's not increasing dramatically, but it has been increasing some over the past 12 to 18 hours or so. And notice it's this far western side of the Caribbean, all the way from the southwestern Caribbean into the northwest Caribbean is being highlighted for maybe some low pressure trying to come together by the middle and end of this week. So notice the chances over the next 48 hours, the 2-day outlook, 0%. Really nothing down there. There's just some moisture and a broad spin down here. But as we go into the middle and end of the work week, some of this might try to consolidate and become our a low pressure. And if it organizes enough, it could become our next system. Now, it's going to generally, whatever tries to form down here, lift up to the north near the coast of Central America. And then as it makes its way further and further north, it will eventually start to turn to the west towards maybe Belize, Honduras, or the Yucatan Peninsula. This would be towards the end of the week and the weekend. Now, there's still some dry air. There's still quite a bit of shear down here. So it may not come together very quickly, but this is the area we'll be watching, especially by the middle, maybe Wednesday, Thursday time frame, and then Friday and Saturday, Sunday. That's when we could have more of an impact for some of the countries down here or even into South Mexico. So if you got plans to travel to Cozumel or Cancun or maybe somewhere in Belize or Honduras as we go into the end of this week and weekend, you be checking in on the forecast. Now, the steering currents with this, right now we've got this huge ridge of high pressure, this big old summer heat ridge sitting over the U.S. and it's sitting over the south, and that is a blocking high. And in this case, this tropical system is going to get steered away from the north. It's not going to head north once it gets closer to this ridge. So as it moves further and further, you can see they're moving to the north, that pocket of moisture. As it gets closer to that ridge of high pressure, that will steer it, whatever it may be, to the west. So that's why we're not really concerned with this coming into the Gulf and certainly not making it to the northern Gulf Coast as we go into the weekend. And notice even early next week, that ridge is still going to be, for the most part, in control of the south and central United States. So anything down here is going to get trapped under that ridge and riding to the west into southern Mexico. Some models do develop this into a more organized system, others not so much. Some keep it more of just a lot of rain over Central America, and it never really gets in the Caribbean and can take advantage of the warm water. So it'll be interesting to see, does anything actually get in the water and try to organize, or does it just remain a big rainmaker for Central America and southern Mexico? Both of those are scenarios that could play out at this point. And remember, with nothing really out there for models to grab onto, models are guessing with how this is going to evolve over the coming days. So just something to watch, but it does not look like it's going to be an issue for the United States and the northern Gulf Coast. Our next name on the list is going to be Bonnie. We had Alex a couple of weeks ago, so our next name, if this one does get it, it would be Bonnie. So we'll be watching it closely for you and updating you, of course, daily as we continue to watch those outlooks from the National Hurricane Center come on in. And the next one of those will come out later this afternoon. But once again, nothing is a threat to the northern Gulf Coast, but we're watching for that development potential in the western Caribbean by the middle and end of this week. Could bring rain impacts and maybe some other impacts to southern Mexico. We're talking the Yucatan Peninsula and down towards Belize and Honduras as we go into the end of the week and into the weekend. But that's going to do it for our Monday 10 a.m. tropical update. Thanks for joining me. I'm meteorologist Peyton Malone.